with the UCI having a French president who's very, very, I would say, facilitating the wishes of ASO, the Tour de France. I know that the Tour de France would rather have 16 World Tour teams than 18, because that gives them more room to invite teams. It would still be the same teams probably, but it's in their hands, in their decision, right? So I'm sure that ASO will push for 17 teams and not 18. I'm 100% sure, but whether that's going to happen or not, that's still to be seen.
Everybody, welcome back to the Move Plus, our weekly edition of the show that runs in the through the off season and in weeks when there's not major races. Just as a show note, we will be back next week with an outcomes to preview the World Championships. There'll be a move going over the World Championships, and then when we get into our off season rhythm, we'll be doing this weekly. We do answer questions at the end from listeners, so if you have questions, send them to info@wedo.team, and we'll get to them if we can. I'm Spencer Martin. I'm here with Johan Bruyneel. We are going through our basket of post-Vuelta España topics, a little bit of recent racing, some transfers, and World Championships time trial coming up this Sunday. We'll do a light preview and predictions on that. But Johan, first of all, how are you doing post-Vuelta? How are you coming down from the race?
We've already talked about, that it was a disappointing end of the Vuelta. But we got back into it straight away. There's many races this week, too many to watch them all, or at least to watch them all at the same time. We can't keep up. So yeah, doing good.
And that's great to hear. The first one it is an odd rhythm. So the Vuelta finishes, and then I kind of have to go back and catch up. It was different this year because there was no Sunday stage, so I got to watch GP Montreal as it happened. And then you kind of like have 2 days off, and then there's all these races flying at you. The first one that stuck out to me, the GP Wallonie, won by Arnaud Delis, who we were just talking about in a private conversation recently. Like, he's like not had a great fall, but he looked incredible in that sprint finish. Biniam Girmay was third. I frankly had never heard of this rider who finished second, Emilien
Janier. Yeah, Emilien Janier. Yeah. He had you would have to check, Spencer, but I think it's probably one of the record holders of the most second places this year. He had so many.
Yeah, looking at his page now, it's almost all second places.
He's a good rider. But yeah, the Lee, man. It's kind of incredible actually to see. Like 2 days before, these guys were still in Canada. So basically,
yeah, I know.
Long flight. They've been there all week. Long flight back and then straight into racing. And Delis is from Wallonie. He's a French-speaking Belgian, and it's a hard race, which finishes in a sprint. I rode the Grand Prix Wallonie when I was a pro many times, and it was always climbers. There was never a sprint like this. There was always guys at the end who got away. The level of the peloton now is so good that the parcours of the Grand Prix Wallonie doesn't split it up. But you need to be really strong, and I think it was an impressive demonstration of power of Arnaud Delis. After the tour, he got back on a really good level. Won was it the Rennes Tour? Yeah, the Rennes Tour. He won that, and he's won a few races since. So he's back on a really, really good level. It looks like the old Arnaud Delis is back.
Yeah, I would say it answered any questions I had about his form. I know he was having like health problems, like maybe he got Lyme disease or something. Is that right?
I think that was last year. This year, he struggled in the spring, was completely out of shape. I think there was some kind of issues about motivation. But they got him back on the rails, and this is the Arnaud Delis that we all like to see. I think, was it 2 years ago when he did this impressive win there in Quebec?
Yeah.
I think, or was it last year?
It was
2 years ago. 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I think he's close to that level again.
Yeah, he started the season in a condition that I know very well. As someone that knows the body shape that he was sporting at the start of the year, I can speak on great authority about what happened over that offseason. But outside of Delhi, we have the Tour of Slovakia going on. And this is going to be an easy one because there's been 3 stages and we have the same first place and second place every day. Paul Monnier winning, Lucas Kubis from Unibet Tetema Rockets, which, I mean, that's a pretty good result for a team like that, getting second every day.
Yeah. I mean, stay the same. I mean, 3 bunch sprints, Magnier, there's nobody even close. They also have the best team, I think, the best lead-out team. At least the 2 sprints I saw, it's basically they drop him off and he just has to pass the last guy. I mean, he does. I mean, he's fast. You know, this is, I think, so he won 3 out of 3 stages. Today was his 9th win of the season, I think. You know, for a guy of 21 years old, big talent. I think we talked about him. Was it last year or 2 years ago in our up and comers?
I think it was
last year.
Yeah, I might have been 2 years. I remember being on.
Would have been 2 years ago already.
The Central line, texting with you about it, and I think that was 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's just 21, and he won his first race of the year, the Étoile de Bessèges.
Yeah.
And then now he's still winning.
Great talent. And the way he wins sprints, he has a lot of power from sitting down. He sprints from in the seat sometimes, and I mean, huge talent. Comes from the same development team as Tom Pidcock. Before he turned pro, he was on Trinity Racing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. How did he get hooked up with Trinity? Is that I guess there's like a specialized funnel kind of. So.
Well, yeah. No, I mean they don't exist anymore now. I think they stopped last year. But I mean, there's many good riders from there.
I believe Luke Lamperti was on that team.
Lamperti was there too. Thomas Gloak was there also. I mean, plenty of others. Really, no, yeah. I mean, one of the good teams that went away, like almost every single team in the UK. Actually, there's almost no teams left in the UK.
Yeah, it's kind of it's like what's happened in the US is happening in the UK with like the disappearance of racing and teams. Not good if you're trying to develop.
Well, I mean, speaking of the US, did I see that Philadelphia is coming back next year?
Yeah, I got a press release about that. I guess it's coming back. Do we know what level it's coming back at?
I don't know.
And yeah, it could be. People love that race. Like it was like a big part of American cycling. The only thing I'm concerned about is maybe this isn't the forum to share it, but like you watch the Canada races and they just pop off the screen. Like the cities look amazing.
Yeah.
There's so much like fanfare around them. And then I just worry, like Tour California was great. Like that was an amazing US race. But like the thing I worry about when we watch like Baltimore, you're like, the roads are not repaved. The roads are in terrible condition. The populace seems a little confused about what's going on. I just worry now with like Philly, has the layoff been so long that the race comes back and the local residents of Philly are like, what is going on here? Like, what is, it's just like U.S. races sometimes struggle to bridge that gap between.
Yeah. Before it was part of the culture in Philadelphia. It was a classic.
Yeah. And it's been gone for a long time.
Yeah.
Like almost
wasn't Philadelphia at some point also the national championships? Like the first American rider finishing in that race was national champion?
I believe our friend George Hincapie won it that way at least once. But yeah, it was like,
I don't remember that.
The race would happen and then that's how they decided the winner.
Yeah.
Which I kind of don't hate that. I mean, because you get all the best riders there, whereas the U.S. National Championships now struggles because it's like right in the middle of the Giro. So it's hard for people to come over and do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Philly could be back. That's exciting. We'll see. I'm tentatively excited about it. Another race that's happening, Tour of Luxembourg. It's had 3 stages. We had Romain Grégoire winning stage 1.
Impressive win by Grégoire.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
And then stage 2 was like better Luxembourg sprinters. And I think like the Luxembourg world national champion crashed in the final few hundred meters.
So in Tour of Luxembourg, there's a national team of Luxembourg with riders from other teams that don't participate. So I think he's 21 years old. I forgot his name now. What's his name?
Matthew Kockelman.
Kockelman, yeah. He's on Lotto. He's on Lotto development team.
Okay. That's why he's so good. That makes
sense. He's on
Lotto
development team and turns pro next year with the World Tour team of Lotto. But still, impressive stage win. And then today was Matthias Kjelmose who won the uphill finish. Also straight from Canada back here. And then, as soon as this is finished, then they fly to Rwanda. There's not going to be much time to adapt.
No.
But I think the Tour of Luxembourg, Spencer, it's going to be won by Brandon McNulty. McNulty's up there in almost the same time. I think he's 6 or 8 seconds down in GC. Tomorrow there's a long time trial. There's 26-kilometer time trial, which in modern cycling, for such a small stage race, is long.
It's so long.
Yeah.
That's more individual time trialing than the
Vuelta. Yeah. So I think McNulty, especially on the form he is now, he's winning that time trial and closing in the overall, I think.
Yeah, and he was third today, so he's 8 seconds back with time bonuses. There, Jordan Gigat got second. You guys had a great season, and he's going to Worlds, I believe, on the French team. We should mention, kind of in a weird, I don't fully understand it, but like Brandon McNulty on great form, wins Montreal. He's going to win Tour of Luxembourg. Doesn't go to World Championships.
Yeah.
Not going to the World Championships.
I checked the participants list. He's not on there. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand.
And it's Matthew Riccatello, another rider that you think there will never be a better World Championships for him.
Well, didn't we get the information? I mean, not that it mattered. I mean, these guys, they have good enough contracts, and it would not be a problem for them. But out of principle, also, didn't we get the information that the American riders actually have to pay their own way out of their own pocket to the Worlds?
I believe everyone I've talked to is paying their own way. There seems to be like a grant. If you're like a U23 rider, you can apply for a grant. And so like a few riders have done that, but I know there's like a junior woman that's doing a GoFundMe to pay her way. Like we know junior athletes that are paying their own way. And then, like a lot of the men's riders pay their own way to the World Championships.
What's going on with USA Cycling, with the federation? I mean, that's not normal. I mean, it's still a big federation. I think they're properly funded.
I guess why I don't. Yeah, I mean, people have asked that question because they say their goal is to win medals at Worlds. So you'd think if that was your goal, you would incentivize these riders to go. Or
how many? So this is. I mean, you like to do research, Spencer. For the next show, maybe you can look it up because we're still going to be talking about Worlds. Try to find out how many staff people, how many
that's a good one.
Officials who go to the Worlds and will sleep in a nice hotel and will fly business class over to Rwanda. I would like to know that.
I would bet it's quite a few. I mean,
I'm not talking about staff. I'm not talking about mechanics and masseuses. Yeah. I'm talking about officials who doesn't really matter if they're there or not. Well, anyway, here you go. That's sports federations for you. Makes no sense.
The people that work there make nice salaries. And then I think it's like it's indefensible that they're not paying for the riders to go. I makes no understand that.
Listen, if it's there are federations where you actually could expect it from. Like there's certain federations in South America, for example, the Mexican Federation. I mean, I don't think the Mexican Federation even exists for the moment, or at least they're not allowed to operate under the UCI because there was problems with money. I mean, I know that the Mexican riders pay their own way, but that's kind of, I would say, to be expected. But not from USA Cycling, man. What's going on there?
It's embarrassing. I mean,
let's try to find out for our next episode.
We will, because they might actually have to publish that somewhere because they are partially publicly funded, I believe. But yeah, we're going to look into this.
We do know now for sure that the majority of the riders, and not just the professionals, even in other categories, have to pay their own way. I mean, we know people that go there who are not
that
professionals,
are paying their own way,
and they're paying their own way. So I don't think that's not to be done.
It's pseudo embarrassing. I guess an American, and then you're like, we can't even get these people to. I know with going all the way back to Qatar. You remember what was that 2016 World Championships?
Where
that they like sent a note out, and it was like, whoever is willing to fly themselves to the race can race.
Where was that?
In the Qatar World Championships.
Which one?
Peter Sagan won.
Qatar. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I thought you said a Qatar.
Qatar. I think that's how they pronounce it. I think Qatar.
It's Qatar.
Qatar. I want to appeal this to Qataris. Please email in. How do you say your country's name? But they sent out a note, and it's like, if you want to pay your own way, you can go race for the U.S. So they've been skimping for a long time on this. I would think that Brandon McNulty would be a great rider to go to the World Championships and potentially medal.
Also.
Yeah. We should get Quinn Simmons on the show next week. Let him unload on USA Cycling.
Let's ask him if he has to pay his own way.
Yeah, we will.
I'm gonna say the answer is probably yes.
I would think so. If they're not paying,
even like Matteo Jorgensen's he's not going.
He's not going now.
And then there's obviously also another debate. We should probably not extend too much about this, but there's also probably people who refuse to go because it's in Rwanda, and there's obviously big problems going on there with the president of Rwanda and conflicts, and so there's people who have refused to go because of that also.
Yeah, you, like a real journalist, though, you've been talking to people on the ground who know a thing or two, and they say where the race is probably quite safe.
Yeah. I've spoken to people, and that's true. That's people who have been there, who have lived there, and they are not worried about the safety of the race, which, I'm pretty sure. Listen, if today, for example, first of all, Rwanda there's what's his name? Kagame. He's considered a dictator. I'm pretty sure he has enough power. He has all the power in the world because I just recently read he got reelected with 99% of the votes. So
incredible.
I think he has his stuff in order to make sure that nothing's going to happen there.
This podcast is just slowly becoming like Today in Politics. Like, we are veering way too far. But how did they get this? Did they pay market rate for it, you think?
Well, I think that, I don't think so. I know I've spoken to some people, is that it's part of the bigger picture. When Lapartien was starting to have ideas to get to be a candidate for the IOC presidency, he knew that the African votes were going to be important, and that's part of what he has promised in exchange for votes from Africa. Is a big cycling event in Rwanda. But finally, it seems to be that didn't work because he only got 4 votes out of 60-something votes in the elections of the IOC president. Well, but that's the reason. It was for exchange of votes, and it's always if you're the running president, it's always good to keep certain continents happy, like Africa, Oceania, the Caribbean, Asia, because ultimately, if you like it or not, these are continents that are not cycling specific, and most of the time, the people in charge of the federations and the continental federations are people who are pure politicians and sports administrators, not specifically to people who know about cycling. In Europe, it's more difficult. I mean, in Europe, you won't get away with the lobbying and the trying to buy votes or go around and try to get the votes. You're going to be judged on what you do and what you don't do, especially what you haven't done. So I think the African World Championships is part of this policy of trying to get votes for whatever you need votes for.
Probably didn't help him that he was running. He got the IOC president that was elected is from Africa. So that probably didn't help if you're trying to.
Well, I mean, that's a whole other story, but that's also, I mean, it's not really, it didn't really get elected, Spencer. It was all, it's the same thing, I mean, if you get elected, I think, I mean, we're getting off track here, but, I mean, in a democracy, you get elected by the people, right? But everybody has a vote, in sports federations. And, if you look at the cycling federation, for example, I know that particular voting system. And then the IOC works the same in almost all sporting federations. It's not the members who vote. It's representatives of the members. And it's done in such a way that if you are actually in power, it's extremely difficult to lose an election against somebody who comes from outside, because you have the direct connection and direct power and direct relationship and the direct resources to get that goodwill. And somebody who comes from outside is not going to win. And in the case of the IOC, this lady from Zimbabwe, what's her name? Kristen Coventry?
I think so.
Kristen Coventry.
Olympic champion swimmer, I believe, right?
But she was the preferred candidate of the exiting President Bach, who had vouched for her. And I don't think he just vouched for her. He did the necessary to make sure that she was going to be the president. It was not even a contest. It was not even close. She got like 70% of the votes, and then all the other candidates had like a little tiny bit of votes. I mean, even somebody like Sebastian Coe, who's a legend. He's multiple Olympic champion, and has been the president of the Athletics Federation for years. He had peanuts. He had almost no votes. It would have been probably a very capable president of the IOC, because he's been in office for a long time in that role in the Athletics Federation, and he's been an athlete, a top athlete, and has seen all the different aspects of the sport. Which in this case, this lady has also been an athlete, elite athlete. But anyways, I'm going too far now.
And maybe she's going to be a great president. But I agree that Sebastian Coe, legend, absolute legend. Do you want a crazy fact about Sebastian Coe? So he ran in the 80s. Can you imagine like the shoes and the clothes they're running, the track surfaces they're running on? His 800-meter time is 1 minute 41 seconds. The current world record is 1 minute 40 seconds 0.9.
Wow.
So like that, like Sebastian Coe running in modern technology would be breaking that world record. That is crazy.
Yeah. And there's a few of those. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Athletics World Championships is going on right now. That's what we're going to pivot to for the rest of the show. But
I'm watching that too, by the way.
It's on. It's kind of at a hard time in the U.S. But actually, I don't know if you saw this, like American 400-meter hurdler just ran the open and then almost broke an unbreakable world record. Pretty wild.
Oh, wow. And then there was another American, was it 400-meter hurdles or 200-meter? I don't remember. He won, and then he got disqualified for hitting the last hurdle, and then 2 minutes later he got reinstated.
No way.
Yeah, it was weird. It was so funny. He was they give them a crown, so he was sitting there and he had a gold crown on, like straight after the finish, and then he had to take his crown off, and then 5 minutes later they gave it back.
Whoa, crazy! So that must have been Rai Benjamin.
Yes.
I haven't seen this race yet.
Benjamin.
Yeah, he's like in this duel with the Karsten, the Norwegian guy. The
Norwegian guy was not even close. It was a Brazilian guy who was second.
Interesting. Well, so there's the one race we didn't talk about, or one bigger race, the Kampioenschap van Vlaanderen. Van Vlaanderen.
Huge race. Race. I mean, the Sprint World Championships.
Well, this is funny. It's like, so cycling is such an odd sport because we just had the Vuelta España. You'd think that would be a big deal. Not really for sprinters, right? Like almost no sprinters there other than Jasper Philipsen. But the Kampioenschap van Vlaanderen, they're all there. Jonathan Milan, Dylan Groenewegen,
and Championships in Koolskamp. It's very near to my hometown.
Tim Merlier, like we got to see like one of the best sprint battles of the year today. And Jonathan Milan
was
wins.
Milan, Groenewegen, and Merlier, no?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So Milan, like keep an eye on him that it's kind of been trending toward him being the best sprinter in the world. The only obstacle there is Jasper Philipsen does seem to be unbeatable in Grand Tour sprints. But that's a major result for him.
Tim Merlier hasn't done too bad neither.
Not done too bad. He does seem to have
the Grand Tours that he participated in, I'm going to say. He didn't do that.
He has a hard time getting selected for Grand Tours for reasons unknown to me.
Well, I mean, he was on Soudal. He's on Soudal. Remco was there. This year was the first year that Remco kind of agreed that Tim Merlier would go too, which, turned out to be great because he won 2 stages?
Two stages. Only thing about Tim Merlier, has trouble winning after the first week.
Yeah.
His wins tend to come in the first week. So we'll keep an eye on that going in the next year. And then just one more other thing to touch on, some recent transfers, just a few things that stood out to me. This is a real funny one that I don't think I've talked to you about. So Visma Lease Bike, very good team. Very good at picking up riders and then they become critical. Like think of Victor Campenaerts. He was obviously good. They bring him in. He's now a critical piece of that team. And he was, for sure, I would not have considered him obviously to be that. They pick up Filippo Fornelli from VF Group. He is 30 years old. This is not like a young up and coming rider. Like what do they see here that the rest of us do not?
I mean, they've done a few of those, I think last year at the really last minute they signed Julien Vermote, who was without contract and used him like for the first 100, 120, 150K. I don't know this rider, whether you just talk about. They signed another rider coming from a trade team from Germany, I think. But they also signed Piganzoli, I think, who comes from
Davide Piganzoli.
Yeah, that's a really good rider. Really good rider.
He's on Team Pulte Visit Malta, which you'll remember if you watch the Giro. A very good rider. That's like if you remember VF Group, Bardiani CSF Fianzane. That's where Giulio Pellizzari came from.
Pellizzari. Yeah.
So these are like these teams. You like, what are these teams like? Are they any good? Like they have a lot of good riders on them.
This team has been around forever. And it's always been. I mean, I know when I was a young professional, there was the dad who was called Bruno Reverberi, who was always the. So it's still always the same organization, and it's still. I think it's his son who's still the manager now. Is the manager called Reverberi of this team, VF? I think it's Reverberi.
Yep, it is.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a team that has been around for a very long time. I would say probably close to 30 years.
They definitely have. Visma sees something here. Like even think of like Bruno Amaral. He's had a great year.
Yeah.
And it's like they scooped him up from Decathlon. And like I would bet he becomes pretty important for that team. This one is just for me and Patrick Bro. Filippo Zanon goes to Soudal Quickstep. I think he's 26 years old, older than I thought. Jaco he thought he was going to Ineos. He thought he was going to get paid €1 million a year, maybe pounds a year. And Dave Brailsford came in and said, no, thank you. We are not going to do that. He then had to find a new contract. He's going to Soudal Quickstep. I kind of like this pickup for the Soudal Quickstep, though. They're losing Remco. They're going back towards more classics, but like Zana is he's very good and he can be used in a lot of different ways.
No, he's a good rider. He's a good rider for sure. I think I think for him to go from because he was at Jayco, right? So I think initially, so he announced in Jayco that he was leaving, and then when the deal with Ineos didn't happen, he tried to go back to Jayco to say no, thank you very much. And now it's at Soudal. I mean, it's not necessarily a downgrade; it's kind of an upgrade.
It is kind of an upgrade. It's unclear to me why Jayco didn't want to keep him. I mean, maybe he wanted to come back at a higher price, and they didn't want to pay him at that higher price. And then last thing on transfers, Alpecin, we mentioned this during the Vuelta. They are losing like a tranche of very good riders, a lot of riders out of contract, funding a little unclear, but a lot of their riders that are leaving, like Gianni Vermeersch, Quinten Hermans, Edward Plancard, all on the other side of 30. And like, especially in the case of like Vermeersch and Hermans, like Vermeersch has had success. Hermans second at Liège, best on Liège, probably pretty expensive riders for
Plancard also, very, very important in the lead out train for Philipsen. And then there's Timo Kilich also, who goes to Visma. I think really good rider, by the way, very good rider. Comes from cyclocross also. But yeah, I mean, okay, they do lose some important like midfield riders who've been there for quite a bit. And it's also, I mean, it's public that for the moment, at least as far as I know, the Koenig is ending their sponsorship. They're looking for a replacement sponsor. They haven't found one yet, or at least looks like they haven't secured one yet. And that's probably why they are budget-wise a bit more limited. And then if these guys 30 plus, like Gianni Vermeersch and Quinten Hermans get really good contracts with other teams. Gianni Vermeersch goes to Red Bull. Quinten Hermans goes to Q36.5. They obviously get a huge improvement on their contract. Whereas I think with Alpecin, they'd probably have kept them at the same contract. They would have renewed their contracts at the same conditions, but not with a huge increase. So they lose in the market, right? But listen, they have invested a lot in Mathieu van der Poel, a lot in Philipsen, a lot in Caden Groves. They have Thibaut Del Grosso, who's an amazing talent, who they have for multiple years also. I'm not too worried about that team. They will find guys that fill in that gap. They're in that team, Spencer. They're really good at having riders on that team, and they go up one or two levels where then you say, well, where does this guy come from? And he's actually pretty good. Some riders that you have hardly heard of. So I'm not too worried about them.
Yeah, and it helps. I mean, yeah, what you say is true. They have riders go up a level. They probably over exceed their like talent, and then they get expensive because of that. And then they move on, and then the burden on Alpecin is then to replace them with new riders who then will over exceed their talent. Yeah. It's kind of an exhausting treadmill, but they are blessed that they're.
It also means that they're doing a good job. I mean, that they're running their team very, very well. And I mean, if you look, for example, Gianni Vermeersch has improved over the years. He's in his 30s now, no? Or maybe 30, 31?
I think he's 30 years old.
Okay.
32, Gianni
Edward
Vermeersch.
Plancard, he's been around for a while.
He's in his 30s, yeah.
Okay. And then, Quinten Hermans is also not super, super young anymore.
He's in his 30s as well.
Okay. Yeah. So I think it's logical that you don't make that special effort to improve those unless they were really irreplaceable. And these guys are replaceable.
When you get
There's only one rider on Alpecin that's not replaceable. That's Mathieu van der Poel.
I would say yes, for Philipsen's pretty tough to replace.
That's what they thought also when Tim Merlier left, And
True.
I mean, Merlier. I mean, he's better now than when he was at Alpecin. But it's not that Alpecin got worse when Merlier left.
No, but I think that is very smart retroactively on the team, a smart decision, because Tim Merlier is not going to get second at Paris-Roubaix twice.
No.
Like that is Philipsen's very good. Like he is the preeminent stage winner in the modern era, and he's also a classics rider.
And one Milan-San Remo,
won a monument.
Let's not forget that. And 2 times second in Paris-Roubaix.
It's crazy. So, and then what happens is these guys get expensive. These guys in their 30s, they have to let them go, and then they recruit from the fertile grounds from which everyone else springs forward, Belgium, and they replace them with like new soldiers that can follow the orders just like the old soldiers could. It is what big benefit of being in Belgium, because you're sitting in a field of talent and you can just like pluck all these riders, mainly from cyclocross, which they're very good at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have multiple cyclocross teams. They have Alpecin, and they have smaller teams which are all affiliated. I think I would have to check. I think there's like 6 or 7 teams that fall under the same umbrella, all under the same organization of the Rothhoff brothers.
It's a good idea. I mean, that's a great place to get.
It's a good idea, but I have no idea how they manage that. I mean, it must be exhausting.
Yeah. In like shoestring budget situation.
Yeah. But plus, and then those teams actually, if you look at the cyclocross teams, they're actually on different equipment. They're not all on Canyon. They're on, some of them are on different bikes and different components. And it must be, that's quite the organization they're running.
Well, let's take a quick ad break, and then we'll talk about promotion, relegation, and the time trial really quick. Okay, Johan, we're back. Before we get into the time trial, World Championships, promotion, relegation, just a quick update. After today, Uno X very good at picking up these these points in these smaller races like Tour of Luxembourg. No, not Tour of Luxembourg. The sprint race that we were talking about. They get 5th and 10th.
8th.
And then that is good.
10th, yeah.
For like 70
points. Yeah.
70 points, 20 plus 50. And now they're within 16 points of Cofidis. Basically, them and Cofidis are equal. They will sprint to the end of the season, and whoever has the most points is World Tour, maybe, and whoever isn't is relegated. Definitely, absolutely. Like if Cofidis finishes too far down, they will be relegated. The only question is, and you brought this up in the pre-show, it's actually not clear what happens to this 18th World Tour team spot, because Intermarché is going away. They're getting subsumed into Lotto. So those are 2 World Tour teams. It's possible that there could be 17 World Tour teams, not 18, which would mean neither Uno X or Cofidis are World Tour at the end of the year.
Yeah, but I've spoken to some people, also some from teams, and the teams actually don't know it either. Right now, it's there's 18 World Tour teams. One World Tour team, Intermarché, the license is not renewed. The team disappears. So apparently, the UCI is not obligated to give that free spot to another team. Like team number 19 doesn't automatically get in the 18 best teams. So it's either 17 teams and 4 wildcards, I guess, because right now it's 18 teams, the World Tour, and the 3 first teams of the pro team ranking get automatic invites to all the World Tour races. If it's 17, then it becomes 4 teams, which, doesn't really matter, right? Because it's the same. I would probably, if I'm there and like struggling to say, am I World Tour, am I not World Tour? And I'm confident and good enough, I'd prefer to be in the pro team lead 2 or 3, because you have automatic right to participate, but you don't have the obligation to participate in all the races, which over the year, there are World Tour races that are on the calendar and that not necessarily the teams want to go to those races.
Yep.
Or some teams don't want to go. And so if you're in the case of Tudor or Q36.5 and Uno X, if they don't get promoted, if there's a race you don't want to go to, you don't have to. You don't have to do the three Grand Tours, for example, which is what Lotto did. Lotto just did the Tour and the Vuelta. They didn't go to the Giro 2 years in a row, by the way.
It's expensive too. You're paying a lot of
obviously also if you don't have the the necessary riders. I mean, to cover the 3 Grand Tours and all the other World Tour races, it's exhausting, and there's always going to be a few races where you simply cannot field a competitive team in all the races unless you're UAE.
Yeah.
But even teams like Visma or even Red Bull or even Little Trek, some races you go to because you have to go, but they would rather not go because they don't have a competitive team they can send.
Yeah. And so I would guess that they will do 18 World Tour teams just because it's more expensive to register as a World Tour team.
I'm not sure. Going back, Spencer, going back to a long time ago. And now, especially, with the UCI having a French president who's very, very, I would say, facilitating the wishes of ASO, the Tour de France. I know that the Tour de France would rather have 16 World Tour teams than 18 because that gives them more room to invite teams. It would still be the same teams probably, but it's in their hands, in their decision, right? So, I'm sure that ASO will push for 17 teams and not 18. I'm 100% sure. But whether that's going to happen or not, that's still to be seen.
And we should say if it goes down to 17, there's not an extra wild card. It's just the fourth second division team gets automatically invited, which starts to cave in on itself because that would be Cofidis, and Cofidis would probably be a wild card team. So it's a little bit potato currently. That spot would just get shifted anyway from pro team to wild card team. But I will keep people updated. It's quite interesting to watch these teams fighting for these spots, and it changes the racing more than you'd think. You see teams like just racing for points.
If you have to bet today, UnoX or Cofidis being the team that, if there's 18 teams, the one that makes the step, who's your money on?
I would absolutely bet on UnoX for a simple reason, because so far if we're talking about from equal footing, they're starting. It's UnoX because so far this year, UnoX has scored almost twice as many World Tour points as Cofidis. So the velocity of them scoring points is so much higher than Cofidis.
Yeah. And then I think you saw a few weeks ago also, or maybe a month ago, that Thor Hushovd requested his riders to not go to the World Championships to save energy and freshness for the end of the season to score points because at the World Championships, it's obviously not easy to score points.
No. And that's interesting. I mean, they do have they have guys that could score well in late season stage races.
Yeah, like Johannesson, for example, not going to the Worlds. That's for a reason.
Yep.
He's going to focus on a stage race or something,
Tour of Guangxi winner right there.
Yeah, maybe.
Who do you think? I think it's going to be UnoX.
No, UnoX.
Yeah.
And they deserve it. I think they deserve it. I think Cofidis right now, they've been, how long does Cofidis exist?
A long time.
More than 30 years. More than 30 years. For sure, more than 30 years. Because in 96, Lance had signed a contract with Cofidis for 97. And they were already around a couple of years. So, no, listen, they, for the moment, the way Cofidis has performed, they don't deserve to be in the World Tour. I don't think so.
No, but that's a weird alternate history to think about. Lance Armstrong is on Cofidis winning the Tour de France, or would he not have? Would Cofidis have stopped him from winning the Tour? Kind of a funny thing to think about. But Johan, the World Championships, we'll talk about the road race tomorrow. The time trial is on Sunday, the men's time trial. It is sneaking up on us. I saw a picture of Remco Evenepoel on the course looking at it. He looks incredibly fit. I have to imagine it's very stressful for the riders on the ground to keep training. You're in a completely different environment, but you have to keep training through the next week and a half. That can't be easy, but it's a tough time trial. It's 40.6 kilometers long, which in modern cycling is the longest one they'll do all year. Mm-hmm. It has 4 climbs. The first one is 2.4K long, 6% average. That's not easy. Second one is longer, about 7K, but it's 3.5% average. The third one is 2K long at about 7%. The last one is 1.3K long at 6%. It's cobbled, but then the route kind of keeps going up after that. So it's uphill to the line, but it's not.
So it's
classified.
the same finish as the road race. The last two little climbs.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is in Kigali, Rwanda. So it's at altitude as well. I believe about 1,700 meters, I think.
1,500 something. 1,500 something.
So the favorite you would have to think is Remco Evenepoel. Another guy that's pretty good is Tadej Pogacar. But I also would not sleep on Jay Vine. I mean, we saw that guy absolutely flying. He comes straight here from the Vuelta. What do you think about this course, and who do you think is going to win?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think those are the three favorites. You named them. I think the big favorite. I mean, obviously Pogacar is Pogacar, right? You can't put anything past him. On a hard course, it's more equal rather than on a flat course against Remco. But he comes back from Canada. I think he's still improving. I think he's going to reach his peak or close to his peak for the road race on Sunday. Not this Sunday, the Sunday after. But I think it's Remco is the big favorite for a specific reason. He's been able to specially train for this. He's been, obviously we saw he abandoned the tour, then he took some time off. He's trained. He did one race, Tour of Great Britain, which did he finish second in Tour of Great Britain? I think he finished second.
Yeah, second overall.
Yeah. Won one stage and has trained, in my opinion, is the guy who trained the most for time trial specifically. There's nobody else who did the same kind of training. As I said, Pogacar, best rider in the world. He can win. And Jay Vine. If Jay Vine has a super day, he's probably the biggest wild card. If you look at losing the time trial with 1 second to Pipo Ghana on a flat course, but this is more Jay Vine terrain, and with that condition from the Vuelta, he's definitely a big candidate.
The problem, Jay Vine, he would be scary to me if I was a favorite like Remco Evenepoel. I would not want to see him there. The only reason I don't think Remco's a slam dunk is because we've seen like on these flat, fast courses, Remco Evenepoel's almost unbeatable. The guy he flies when the speed is high, but it's some tough climbing. Like I don't know if he's going to be faster than Jay Vine on some of these climbs. And obviously that's going to be a problem if he's trying to go faster than him in the race.
Yeah.
But
I still think Remco wins the World Championships time trial.
When I saw how he looked today, I did think he was going to win. He looks very fit. He looks incredible. Mm-hmm. I'm excited. This kind of snuck up on me. I didn't realize it was on Sunday, but I'm quite excited to watch it now to see who wins. Johan, before we go, a kind listener asked me this question in person yesterday on a group ride, Slavic from Boulder. If the teams were reversed, Jonas Vingegaard is on UAE, Joao Almeida is on Visma, everything else stays the same. Is the result the same at the Vuelta a España?
I think so. As I said in the other in our last podcast, we did have doubts and questions and criticism about the tactics of UAE. Even Joao Almeida has, after the race, said that their work as a team was not perfect, far from. But what kind of tactic? My question is, what kind of tactic would have changed the outcome of a specific stage? Like the biggest climb was Angliru, right? Almeida and Vingegaard came in together. Almeida maybe a tiny bit stronger, but not strong enough to drop him. Then my question is, what kind of teamwork could have been done that would have changed this situation? Because as soon as it was hard, it's the two strongest guys, man against man, like what is it, 5-6 kilometers together?
Yeah. The only thing I could really pinpoint is stage 9, Visma takes Jonas into the climb. Eunice, he's second wheel, and then his team is like stacked up behind him.
Yeah.
So Almeida and Pidcock are so far from his wheel that when he attacks, it's like steep at the beginning, then not steep, that they were basically, it's like a screen in basketball. Like they could screen the other riders off his wheel. And that if Jonas is not on Visma, if he's on UAE and he's stuck further back and Joao Almeida's up at the front with the team keeping the pace so high that Vingegaard can't attack, that would be the only thing that is different, I feel like.
That's 30 seconds, Spencer. That's 30 seconds. There's still, he wins with more than a minute, right?
Yeah, 1:16. So
that's 30 enough. Seconds. And then on top of that, Spencer, if you reverse the situation, if Visma does this for Almeida, you have to ask yourself 2 questions. First of all, would Almeida have been in a position to follow his teammates because he's not great at the bottom of climbs?
It's a very good question.
Number 1. And then number 2, this can account for like 5 or 10 seconds, this positioning and that first. But let's not forget that Vingegaard had to maintain that position, that difference, and stay out there for, was it like 7K or something? It was far. It was quite far when he went.
Yeah, he did have. I mean, I think you're right. I think the results are the same. I don't want to sound like I'm nitpicking Jonas. He was on the bumper of a moto for a long time, though. So it was a big advantage to be out front on that stage.
Yeah. Well, no, but the answer is I don't think it would have changed the overall result because in the main stages where the differences were made, it was man against man. And Angliru, he was not able to shake him, whether he was on Visma or on UAE. I don't think it would have mattered. And then on the last day, UAE was the best team, and Jonas took time.
Yes, and it helped Jonas that they were better. Like hurt Almeida helped Jonas. The only thing my addition to this question would be, is being on Visma, because I think Jonas would have found a way, like nature finds a way in Jurassic Park. Like he'll find a way to win. He's just a winner. But is being on Visma shaped his mentality in a different way than if Joao Almeida's on Visma? Is his mentality completely different? And if Jonas is on UAE, is he mentally different because he's playing second banana to Tadej Pogacar?
That's another question. I'm not in the head of these guys, and I don't know them, personally at all on how they are. I mean, to me, it seems like Jonas is feels really good at Visma. His wife would sometimes say differently, but I think Jonas feels great there in that atmosphere, and he executes the plan. And Almeida feels great at UAE, but seems to be very, very relaxed, very okay, we'll try my best. I've done what I can, so be it, right? So maybe Almeida wouldn't function in the stricter pattern of Visma. I don't know. I mean,
that's
I'm just
probably
thinking out
probably
loud
correct. That is probably correct, because he is very laid back, like shockingly laid back.
Yeah, at least that's how he comes across in the interviews. He's most likely one of the biggest professionals in cycling. It's a guy who trains, does the job, super serious, super focused, but he comes across as really, okay, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And I guess the good thing about that is he's not beating himself up about stuff he can't change. Like Jonas is stronger. Like, what do you want me to do here?
Yeah.
That's kind of a healthy perspective to have. I think you're right. Probably the results are the same. Kind of an interesting thing to think about, though. Anything else, Johan, before we take off?
I think we've covered a lot, Spencer, and a lot more to come. A lot more to come in the next weeks.
Yeah, we'll be back next week to preview the World Championships road race, and then we'll be back every week after that. Send your questions to info@wedo.team. Thanks, Johan.
And we'll be back for the World Championships too.
Yeah,
Cover
with
that race.
With potential all-star lineup on the move for that. We'll see.
We'll do our best.